Let's just do it for the fun of it. Okay, let's rock. I think it would be easy to look at the most recent deranged queer phobia and take a pessimistic view that things are getting worse. But I want to offer you an alternative perspective. Things are getting much, much better, and that is precisely why things are getting so crazy. Before I respond in kind, I want to I
Please,
just want
please,
to.
I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes. Look at it.
Oh, we haven't gotten that one in a long time. Thank you for the follow. There will always be religious conservatives that are uncomfortable with the way the world has been changing for the last several decades. They'll never entirely go away. But let's be clear about what's happened. They are losing, they've been losing, they will continue losing. To be clear, they've been saying for actual decades that queerness is right next to pedophilia. It's not new, it's certainly ramped up lately, but it's the same type playbook. The reason they're taking things to such extremes is because they know they're losing. They did the same thing with interracial relationships. Young people probably don't understand this, but it was not long ago. Probably 2/3 of people disapproved of in my lifetime. I remember the discussions. Now, totally reversed. They lost. Would you be opposed to me cutting highlights of your stream for TikTok? Absolutely not. So they'll keep doing this shit. They'll make it about keeping kids safe. Like you can. I would not be opposed to that. But the insidious implication that queer folks are hurting kids, they know what they're doing, but it's already going to fail. It already is failing. They can't win this fight, and that pisses them off. I don't know what it's like to be queer. Watching the discourse get as ugly as gotten lately, so I'm not going to patronize you by pretending like I do, but I want to let you know that most of us have your backs. The loudest, nastiest voices represent a dying breed. Okay. I'm going to now respond to this in point because at first glance, I was like, you know, if you don't have brain worms, if you're not here talking to people, then like, when people tell me about their day and they're anything other than cishet, their day is much different. For some reason, certain altercations stand out to them a little bit more. I'm generally around a very self-aware, conscious crowd. So when people do fuck shit, I'm aware of the fuck shit because, yeah, why the hell would you have that conversation? Why would that come out your mouth? Now, it's a little bit of the New York in me to be a little bit aggressive about it, but at the same time, we all in New York, so, like, shut the fuck up. I was fine with this thread because I didn't realize who it was coming from. OG YouTubers, streamers, Super Smash Brothers Melee, I guess. Skill-based matchmaking? I don't know. Whatever the fuck. I don't care. Whatever. I just read it as whatever. Also, Elon's Twitter pushes those shit takes to the top. That tweak to the algorithm is the absolute worst. The absolute dumbest possible fucking idiotic takes just flood the top of every big post now. Man really bought a whole website and personally engineered his own echo chamber. This is what snapped me into a different mindset. And I thought in my head before I started talking about it, maybe the way I'm approaching this is coming from a very, like, I'm a close friend with the director of projects at the National Transgender Center for Rights. Like, I'm close and constantly connected with the transgender fight in politics. I receive information, I have conversations with people that not everybody has access to when they're not streaming. Luckily, they're streamers. You know, etc. non grata. So I have to remember that I am much more entrenched in certain knowledge of how it's being received across certain states, certain demographics, certain polls, certain research. So not everything everyone is going to say is going to reflect that. At what point do I step back and say, I'm glad that you got to that point? Versus, hey, maybe you could push this a little bit more. What started spinning in my head was, wait a minute, you talk about this all the time. Why is it that, like, these small ass sentiments that you yourself have made dissertations on that you can currently find on YouTube with the place that you're watching this right now, why don't those blow up, but these half-assed things, I'm gonna get to the Trump arrest, I swear to God. The Trump arrest, here we go. That's how you know my mouth is dry. Now, I'm like, wait a minute. This post right here is what it means to be an ally. Thank you, Hutch, for using your voice for good. Thank you for advocating for those who need it. This whole thread is golden. Thank you for this. And then, you get your weird ass comments or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. You wish, da, 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 da. Okay. I'm going to explain to you why this post doesn't work. It's half-assed. And it's not this person's fault. None of what most people post on social media is their fault. All I'm going to say is, if you open your mouth about something, I'm sorry, but even if it's like so well-meaning, it's not criticism. It's, hey, I'm adding this on because you want to kind of be realistic, coming with what's happening in 2024 and the advancement and acceleration of violence that you've seen in the country. Sorry it took me so long to get here, but here we are. I think it would be easy to look at the most deranged queerphobia and take a pessimistic view that things are getting worse, but I want to offer you an alternative perspective. Things are getting much, much better, and that is precisely why things are getting so crazy. No, the inverse of pinching. So this is a political pinch. I've talked about political pinches before because it works in with a couple of coefficients that happen to lead into some things about economics. If you pinch a piece of society in a certain quadrant, and this is a voter block quadrant, if you push certain policies on them, you can effectively pinch them into a situation where they either have to flourish or dwindle off. You could do this with political ideologies as well. People thought that's what was happening in the 90s. That's why everybody was like, oh, the crazies and the hippies and everybody. We could go all the way back to the 60s with this. But that's why there was a focus on the summer of love at the same time as the civil rights movement and shit was getting passed. Because white people still weren't getting touched by the inherent systemic issues. That's why Not in My Backyard exists. It really ain't about how black people will bring crime and lower your property values. It's that they'll create conditions for those black people to live in that will naturally bring crime. You will naturally call your police more often when they're having a house party. So that's the crime that's being brought to the neighborhood. There's levels to it. Regardless. Inverse pinching, however, squeezing out an ideology because it doesn't fit within the norm of, people say that there's a quote-unquote white genocide, right? At the same time as you're hearing, there's an idea that all these legislative attempts are to create a queer genocide. Let's be honest, it's not about trans people. It's larger than that, because y'all making it larger than that right now. The focus is trans people. You might slip by and see all these LGB, forget the TQ, blah, 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 or whatever, divide and conquer. The whole point is, if you can start with trans people to a point where they fear going outside, then we can do it to the rest of them. That's why they keep bringing up 1% of the pot. You gotta get faster than this. No. Things are not getting much, much better. People are becoming more and more polarized by the actions of the far right. That's it. That's it. You can't make up it was Antifa pretending to be Patriot Front. Bitch, that is a blue check bot Russian shit. Nobody in their right mind would say, wow, Antifa really likes dressing up as these people all the fucking time. Remember what we used to say about Nazis sitting at the table? Advance it a little bit further. If somebody starts hanging out with Nazis, and then more and more people start hanging out with them that are not Nazis, wouldn't you naturally think at some point, are any of these people that he's hanging out with Nazis? Because they keep saying they're not, but they keep hanging out with the guy who clearly hangs out with Nazis. Oh, that doesn't happen in real life? That's literally Aiden Ross. So and he got the bread. He got the bag. So it's not like the shit don't work in the open. Because even Kanye was on that shit in the open. Remember, Aiden Ross got burned hanging with Nazis, but didn't want to do the Kanye stream because he was pushing the Nazi shit. Remember that the contradictions that happen in your kids' and younger people's lives as a constant revolving cycle also includes this shit. So forget not teaching your 14-year-old about LGBTQ people as an agenda for the gay people. The fucking Nazi shit is at your front door already. Like, you already got way too much to talk about if your or you are a fan of Aiden Ross. You done already been exposed to this anyway. No, things are not becoming better. They are becoming better in a form where there is becoming only two definitions for what you want to do here. Do you want trans people to go away? Do you want do you want the entire LGBTQ, like, do you want pride to go away? Do you want gay people to just, like, do you want to revert back to that? Or do you just want people to have health care? Like, do you want these people to just exist, or do you not want them to exist? Yeah, we're already at that side. The reason why nobody wants to frame it as that is because that's fucking lunatic. That's crazy. But here we are. There will always be religious conservatives that are uncomfortable with the way the world has been changing for the last several decades. They'll never entirely go away. But let's be clear about what's happened. They're losing, they've been losing, and they will continue losing. No, they're not losing. See, because you're focused on the fight on the ground. That's what trans people, and I don't even mean to speak for this community, and I might have one or two people up in here that say, yo, that's wrong. But we gonna do it anyway. Trans people have been trying to tell you it's never been the fight on the fucking ground. It's that while y'all are fucking focused on these dickheads online and this Twitter and this school who has books and shit, these states are just banning shit, and they're chipping away at it so far that they're not gonna call you F's. I know it's a tweet that's already here, and we're probably gonna find it somewhere down the line on the stream in a point where you're not gonna see it on YouTube. But they're gonna get into a point where they don't have to say F slur, F slur, F slur, T slur, T slur, T slur. Now they're talking about books in schools and curriculums, and it's so abstract that at that point, who the fuck thinks you're talking about gay people? I'm talking about language that is specifically used to introduce a child to a lifestyle that might not be congruent with the natural order of life. F slur, it's way better than saying F slur, F slur, F slur. And who the fuck thinks you're talking about them? So no, they are not losing. They are becoming less popular to side within the open. But so are trans people. To be clear, they have been saying for actual decades that queerness is right next to pedophilia. It's not new. It's certainly ramped up lately, but it's the same tired playbook. But the reason they are taking things to such extremes is because they know they are losing. No. 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 The reason they're taking it to such extremes is because nobody's stopping them. Wait a minute. If our numbers are dwindling and the president don't give a fuck and these people are passing the bills and Twitter's all Elon saying, interesting, I should look into it. Wokeness is a disease. If Michael Knowles can still speak in public after effectively saying we should eradicate transgender people, and people are dodging it with, well, he said transgenderism, the ideology. The idea that you are trans should be erased from society is what that translates to. In not even trying to be funny. The same way y'all talk about definitions, if you put any definition for the word eradicated and ideology in front of transgender, you're literally saying the idea of being transgender should be eliminated from society. And he still has a platform. Yeah, their numbers are dwindling because more and more people are like, whoa, them niggas is crazy. But there's some people who are quite literally on this post and others saying, wait a minute, maybe not that crazy. They did the same thing with interracial relationships. Yes, but it's a lot easier to just let this exist because there's no ideology. We made nicknames for these people. We made a joke out of it. We made it so funny that people would shut the fuck up about it. Like, come on, we literally have a meme on the timeline right now that said, oh, my husband said white women do it better. And he's like, no, I said if it ain't snowing, I'm not going. Like, so they'll keep doing this shit. They'll make it about keeping kids safe, but the insidious implication that there is that queer folks are hurting kids. Really? Really? Did you? It took you 4 tweets to figure that out? That's where I start getting sarcastic and nasty. Because it's not your fault. But, like, this is an empty state. Like, I don't have to be online every day, which I'm not, thank fucking God, to know that this shit is happening. I have friends that I talk to who are like, yo, this happened. That's it. No, oh shit, that's fucked. Oh shit, no. Like, we pay attention and we teach the youth and we make sure they not thinking about it, but they thinking about it. I'm the paradigm shift. See you in the next one.